Hi everybody, Mr. Schmidt here on my porch. It's dusk, beautiful night. What a great summer we've had. Hope everyone's well. Just wanted to go through 5 quick tips, post-midterm concerns. So one of the things everyone has to figure out in this class, and people are starting to, especially after the culminating activity for Unit 1, is that assessment as learning matters. And what that means is that uh, a lot of the course is set up so that you learn to take a checklist, take a rubric, make sure you're going through the process, and then kind of not only do you read all the content and take that into consideration as to how to answer a question, but then you constantly reassess yourself. So that's what process work is for the most part in anything. If you go to university, and this is a university prep course, you don't get to submit things 1,000 times. So there is still like a little crutch in secondary school where you're still working on stuff, but ultimately you have to not only figure out intelligent questions to ask, how to interpret the questions if it's unknown to you and if it's unfamiliar to you, but also then to continuously build your skills and to apply them on your own and take a good hard look at the work you did and be like, have I actually met the criteria that they're asking for here, right? So just the best example, Unit 1 culminating, who read the rubric in advance? There was a whole 1 out of 4 of those sections was devoted to a reflective paragraph. The first time people submitted, almost nobody was able to submit a reflective paragraph on the decisions that they were making. A lot of people treated it as like a really small, simple assignment, but it was quite involved, and I think a lot of people learned a lot about that. So if you didn't learn that, do so now, because now we're getting into the essay component and there is going to be a lot of process work. Speaking of process work, number 2 here, process work only works if everybody participates in it. I know for the synthesis papers, there were not, in the discussion area, there were not a lot of people commenting on it, on each other's papers. This is kind of a problem, and I know some people just missed that the discussion area existed, but you must have been there because everyone did the icebreaker. And the other thing to keep in mind is that your mark is based not only on your post there, but on commenting on others. The statistics are kept, so you're supposed to comment a minimum of twice on other people's discussion posts, and I'm going to suggest now that you post 3 or 4 so that we get that ball rolling, okay? Unit 3, the synthesis paper, is important, but even more important is you're going to have to get some feedback on your culminating activity. So if you can all help each other out and do that in a timely manner, that would be best. Dropbox timelines. So I usually have not closed anything even a week later. I've given people a lot of time to get started. Now that we're into the last 2 weeks, that's going to start to shorten. I had said 72 hours originally. As we get towards the end of this week, I'm going to have to make that 48 hours. And eventually, you are not going to have any time to complete it. So for the most part, I'll be accepting late submissions for the remainder of this week, but getting on into next week, that's going to be more difficult. Feedback on thesis before continuing. I'm giving early priority to people who are submitting their thesis because it's such a big deal, because if you don't have a good thesis and you don't have a good structure, it's going to affect everything you do and your entire mark and your entire process of writing an essay. So I've already given feedback to everybody who submitted their thesis once. I will then give feedback again. Your mark can continue to give up. I usually give you a very shockingly low mark at first, just so you feel a little bit of fear in your heart. No, I'm just kidding. It's not really a fear factor, but it's just like more of like a little bit of a shock, and where you might be like, oh yeah, I should actually do the work to continue to refine this. And remember, that is kind of the point of the course. Like, writing is a process. It always is. And for anyone who writes anything, whether it's when you're working for some corporation someday, or whether you're writing an email to somebody, or whether you're writing a wedding speech, or whether you're writing, a paper, they all are processes, and you're always like coming back to it and looking at it critically and trying to improve it, right? So you shouldn't take those marks that I put in on your thesis and think anything of them. You should just continually refine the process and put the work in and get a better mark. Finally, for right now, we're at the 5-minute mark. Video on Wednesday. So I will try to get you a video on Wednesday or Thursday about the culminating assignment, so that the expectations are very clear and you don't feel like you're lost. That will give you a full week before it is due to work on it. So, for those of you who like jumping the gun and doing things early, sometimes that's not such a huge benefit to you, especially in this case. What is a benefit to you is getting your culminating activity up early in the week, so you can get some feedback both from myself and from people in the discussion area, and then sealing the deal in the later part of the week and finishing off the course with a bang. Okay? I know midterm marks for some people were a little bit disappointing in general, though people are doing good, or sorry, are doing well. Sorry, I'm an English teacher, I should not say are doing good. Um, yeah, there's a lot of people who are highly successful and who are doing quite well. Um, if you've fallen behind, then you should just send me your cell phone number so we can discuss it and have a bit of a better plan. And a lot of people are trying to balance a lot of things in their lives right now, between work, another class. Some people are actually doing like full day school plus an online course. It's a lot to do, so you should be proud of yourselves. But also, this is the time. This is crunch time. This is like June exams. It's time to just put in the work for a full 12 days or 10 days. Block out summer and get to it. All right, everybody. Have a great evening. Peace.